Ahead and get started. I see quite a few participants are on. Thank you all, and I'm sure that there will be some more that join us shortly. I want to share my screen before we get started, and you will be able to, again, for those of you that's just joining us, you'll be able to ask questions at the end of the presentation today. So I want to start off by saying welcome. Welcome to the first Coffee with the Principal with me as principal of Capital Area K-12 online. And please know that during this session, that's the last time I will say the name of the school in its entirety. It's a mouthful to say. So when I say Capital Area K-12, you know what I'm referring to. So before we do introductions, let me briefly go over what the Coffee with the Principal is all about. So I've done these for the last 4 years as principal of Atwood New Tech. And I see a couple, when I view the participants, I see a couple of Atwood parents are on. So good morning to you all. The tone of the Coffee with the Principal is very laid back. It's just a time for me to connect monthly with parents and community partners. Usually the topic is about school climate or culture, or one of the goals for our school improvement plan. But today's topic, of course, is Capital Area K-12. And hopefully we can answer all of the initial questions you have regarding curriculum and instruction benefits that our online students receive because they are Lansing School District students. So when it comes to athletics, our students with IEPs, as well as different opportunities for our high schoolers with advanced placement, dual enrollment, career tech, all those questions that have came my way over the couple of weeks. It's my hope that we're able to answer those this morning. So again, if you have questions, make sure you're putting those in the question and answer section. We're getting ready to have brief introductions. So when I call on you, the panelists that have joined me on this morning, go ahead and introduce yourself and just give us a brief description of what your role is with the Lansing School District in connection with Capital Area K-12. So Harmony.
Thank you. I am Harmony Costello. I am the Director of Special Education for the Lansing School District, which means for all 25 schools and the new Capital Area K-12 online school. So anything regarding special education is under my purview.
Thank you, Harmony. Chris Henderson, our AD.
Good morning. Welcome to see everybody. My name is Chris Henderson. I'm the District Athletic Director, and I oversee all of the athletics in our district, K through 12.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris. We are, I was expecting to have Ms. Bonero. She's over the Lansing Promise and Hope Scholarship. I do see.
Here.
Where are you, Terry? Terry, I'm sharing my screen, and I'm so happy to see your smile because I was not going to be able to answer some of those questions, Terry. So Terry,
No.
Please
I
introduce
apologize. I apologize. I just tuned in. I am Terry Bernero. I am the new director of CTE, which stands for Career Technical Education, and I still oversee the Hope and Promise scholarships. And I'm happy to be here today.
Thank you, Terry. All right. So again, for those of you.
You're muted.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Terry. For those of you that are just joining, I was just saying, please put your questions at the bottom of the screen where it says Q&A instead of the chat. All right, so we're going to jump right in. And I'm going to start off by talking about the curriculum and instruction for Capital Area K-12. So our kindergarten through 8th grade curriculum will be through HMH. It's HMH Anywhere. So I like to describe, or I've been describing it to parents and colleagues as like a one-stop shopping where everything is right there on that learning platform that I appreciate as a principal. And last school year, I'm also a LSD parent. So I was able to observe and witness firsthand some of the challenges that came with having to have multiple sign-ins, and just clicking around, trying to navigate the different tools. The good thing about HMH Anywhere is everything is right there on the platform. Instead of Google Classroom, it's called Ed. So we'll talk more about that towards the end of the presentation with questions and answers. But HMH Anywhere will be the source for all of our core subjects for K-8. So our science, social studies, language arts, and math will be HMH Anywhere. And HMH is also the supplier for our current reading and math curriculum. Now for our 9th through 12th grade curriculum, that will be through Michigan Virtual. Again, the difference here is the core courses as well as the electives for 9th through 12th grade will be through Michigan Virtual. For the curriculum, our teachers, K-12, will be with Lansing School District. So Lansing School District teachers will deliver instruction. We will use the curriculum from HMH Anywhere and Michigan Virtual. Now, the difference from last year with our remote learning, we'll have both synchronous and asynchronous, but this is more of a synchronous instruction type. The best way I can describe it is a flipped classroom. If you're not familiar with the flipped classroom, it's more of a front loading at the beginning of the week. And then there are sessions throughout the week where the teacher will be on live for live instruction, but then there will be daily office hours. So I want to share just a quick video that will explain it much better than what I said as far as what I mean by a flipped classroom. So hold on just a second, and this will be our mode of instruction for capital area K-12.
This is a classroom. The teacher stands at the front and the students watch and listen. You'll recognize this because it's probably how you were taught and how your parents were taught before you. But there are a lot of problems with this approach to teaching. You see, not all students learn at the same speed, so some get left behind. And while some students learn better by listening, others may learn better by doing. This means that teachers can't always do the best job they can, but there is another way. The flipped classroom addresses these problems and makes learning more personal. First, the teacher makes a video that delivers the content they'd usually teach in class. Then they share it online with students who can watch it before the next lesson. This leaves the teacher free to spend class time reading activities that help students apply the knowledge. Students can rewind and rewatch a video as many times as they like and come back to class with questions for the teacher. So keeping up with the class is no longer an issue. Students can access the video at any time using mobile devices, giving them the ability to learn more independently. Instead of sitting and listening, students can spend class time applying knowledge in more practical ways. And teachers are free to spend their time working with students and giving them individual support and attention. The Flitz Classroom model is already making a difference to students and teachers worldwide, so get involved. Discover more at flippedinstitute.org.
All right, so again, the flipped model, I don't want you to, no pun intended, but flip out about the flipped classroom model. Is as teachers are able to explain and as parents and students get used to this mode of teaching and learning, I truly believe you'll appreciate the individualized instruction that our virtual students will receive through the flipped classroom model. So will there be any face-to-face opportunities? That's a question that I got during our enrollment event, and that's a question that I've also answered multiple times via email from parents that are interested in enrolling or who have already enrolled their students at capital area K-12. So students will actually come on site and will be located at Wainwright for testing. So for our benchmark testing, which is NWEA, M-STEP teachers, students will come face-to-face for M-STEP, the PSAT, the SAT, and our ACT and work keys for our 11th graders. and also for WIDA testing. So the times that the students will be here will be for benchmark and summative testing. And also we'll have events, just like all of our brick and mortar schools, where we have distribution days for materials, because again, along with the curriculum, especially for K-8, there are manipulative kits that go along with lessons and units. So there will be times where students and families will have the opportunity to come on site for different reasons while throughout the school year. And so you all will notice that I have these on a slide deck. It's so important, as I did research last year when we're kind of thrusted into the screen to screen or remote learning, just the research where visual stimulation, how it increases the level of engagement for adult and student learners. And I'm saying that to say, this is a sample of a virtual classroom of teachers. And so your child's teacher will also have a virtual classroom on the Ed platform where they come in and they will click and they will join the class for today for synchronous sessions. And they'll also go here for their asynchronous instruction as well. And I want real quick, Harmony, if you could just kind of review as far as when it comes to our students with disabilities. We're very similar to the setup that we had last year when we were remote to screen to screen. I keep saying remote. When we were screen to screen, it'll be the same type of experience for the services that students will receive.
Thank you very much. Yes, it will be a similar type of delivery model for students with IEPs. Each student who would like to receive their instruction on the Capital Area Online School will need to have their IEP reviewed so that we can review accommodations, supports, and make sure that those things are done individually to address the new online learning system. So yes, everything should be very similar, but we will need to review and have an IEP team meeting for every student so that we can adequately support the student in this online setting.
All right, thank you, Harmony.
You're welcome.
So, Ms. Bonero, could you talk a little bit about CTE, dual enrollment? I had a lot of questions at the enrollment event last week. Will my student be eligible for the Lansing Promise? So can you talk a little bit about the different programs that you oversee for Lansing School District?
Absolutely. First of all, in the Lansing School District, we do have a couple CTE classes that we offer, and they are all being offered at Hill Center this school year. We have graphic and print technology. Students learn a wide variety of computer programming and printing stickers, coffee cups, engraving wood, a lot of cool projects in that program. So if you like hands-on, this is the CTE program for you. We have Health Sciences 101 that is being taught by Mrs. Renee Ice at Hill. That's your exploration course into the wonderful world of health careers. We have risk management and insurance. That's actually being taught at Sexton this year. Also new to our CTE offerings is EMT, which is Emergency Medical Technology. So if you want to drive an ambulance, be a paramedic, this class is for you. And then I want all our parents and students to know that we have a very wide variety of classes at the Wilson Talent Center and Eaton Risa Career Prep Center, that while you are enrolled in this online program, you are still eligible. And they are half-day programs. So students will be spending 3 hours in these different classes and getting college credit. Sometimes, especially with the Eaton Risa Career Prep Center, they're also dual enrolled. So they'll get high school credit and LCC credit for some of those courses. So that's the CTE part of it. My other job in the Lansing School District is overseeing the Hope and Promise Scholarship. What is it? It is 65 free credits at Lansing Community College, which can get you an associate's degree. So you can think of this as your free ride for college. What you have to do is you have to live in the Lansing School District boundaries to be eligible. You have to go to all 4 years of high school in a school in the Lansing School District boundaries, which I will say this online program that qualifies you for the Lansing Promise. You have to, of course, graduate from one of our high schools. You have to apply and get accepted into MSU, Olivet, or LCC. All students have to do a FAFSA, which is an online financial aid form, and apply then when you're a senior to lansingpromise.org. It is a 5-minute application, real easy. So you'll apply. They send all the names to me. I just verify that, yes, you've went to Lansing schools the last 4 years, you've graduated, you live in our boundaries, and you're all set. It's that easy.
Thank you, Terry. And Terry, we're just kind of going, I'm kind of going through answering questions in the chat, but thanks. So if more come up, we'll be able to, not in the chat,
Okay.
in the question and answer portion. Thank you, Terry.
Sure.
All right. So we'll also have, we don't have our guidance counselor on today, but Capital Area K-12 will have a guidance counselor for our 7th through 12th graders to kind of talk about the things that Terry just explained with opportunities, and to also make sure that they're on track for graduation. Chris, I'm going to have you jump in now and kind of explain athletics for our Capital Area K-12 students. Chris?
Thank you. I appreciate it. And once again, welcome everyone. We're excited for this year to begin. I've had a few questions regarding athletics. And what I've posted is just some information, I hope, that clarifies some of that and gives direction on where to go and who to contact with further questions if need be. The biggest question, the most often question asked is, will my student be able to participate in athletics if they attend the online school? And the answer is yes, absolutely. We are excited that we can provide these resources and athletics as a part of the Lansing School District as well as online. The important thing to remember is that when participating, we're members of the Michigan High School Athletic Association, so they have certain criteria and guidelines when it comes to that. The boundaries where you live inside of Lansing will determine what school you will participate with. So if you are a Lansing School District student and you live inside the Lansing School District boundaries, you then are able to participate, and then we just determine your residence, address, and what school you would attend based on that, as if you were going to that actual school. The first slide are the middle school 7th and 8th grade sponsored sports. We have 7 middle schools that participate in sports, and several of them are combined or a co-op. And what that means is that there are 1 or more schools that combine to make up one team that you can participate in, depending on the sport. Some sports are individual at each of the middle schools. Others are combined. For instance, football, 7th and 8th grade football. There are 3 football teams that they may participate in, And regardless of if you go to White Rich or Wood Creek, Gardner or Post Oak, you are still have the opportunity to participate in football with, as you can see, Post Oak will attend Eastern, Wood Creek and Dwight Rich will attend Sexton, and Gardner will attend Everett. And the same goes for wrestling and some cross-country teams as well. The other sports that we have available in the fall, winter, and spring, most of the middle schools, the 7 middle schools, will have their own individual team. The next slide is for the high schools, and really this just shows you the athletic director at each of the high schools, and then what's offered in each of the seasons, fall, winter, and spring. And anytime you see a combined team, that just means that the teams are combined. For instance, in the fall, we have girls golf. This is a combined team with all 3 high schools. So regardless of if you go to Lansing Eastern or Sexton or Everett, it's a combined team that they participate in.
All right. So that's, I think pretty much the slides had the same sports listed, Chris, for the high schools. Okay. All right, so we are to the point where we are at our Q&A, our questions and answers. So before we go to question and answer, I do want to give our superintendent the opportunity just to say hi and introduce himself to those of you who may be on this morning who've not met him yet. Ben?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ben Schuldner. I'm the superintendent of Lansing. I'm really, really proud to both be the superintendent in general, but also very, very proud that we're creating and have created this virtual school. Our belief is that we want to empower parents to make the best decision for their children. And we believe that face-to-face instruction is incredible, and we'll be opening up our schools, starting in the fall. But we also want to make sure that families have the option to have an online school. And what's really, really cool about having an online school that's associated with a, brick and mortar school district, as you heard the principal talk about, is we can offer things like sports and music and after school programming and all sorts of other really wonderful things that you kind of expect from a brick and mortar school, but that you can get through our relationship and our, experience of basically running an online school as well as other brick and mortar schools. So, that being said, we're really, really proud of Principal Turner-Laws. We're really proud of all of the support that the community is bringing here, and we look forward to our inaugural year as the capital area K-12 online school, and we look forward to this continuing for many years in the future. So thank you all for joining. Thank you all for being a part of it. I turn it back to the very, very capable hands of the principal, and look forward to seeing all of these wonderful faces as students on a virtual screen where I can greet you all in the fall. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben, and thanks again for joining us on this morning. So you all, I've went through and I've answered questions in the Q&A portion. Harmony there, she's answering it as I speak. So there's a question that I wanted to answer live because I know it's been more than one parent with the question, and it says, approximately how much time is spent per day with screen-to-screen interaction between students and their teacher, not learning from the video? So that varies, and it varies, I'm going to say, by grade level. Our K through 3rd graders will have more synchronous time scheduled than our middle years, our middle school, and our 7th through 12th graders, just because of, some of our kindergartners, this is their first experience with school, and it's just going to take more live interaction with our teachers for our K-3 students. So I can't give you an approximate time. I will say that every day teachers will have office hours where they will be on live to meet with parents and students for just general questions. There'll also be time throughout the day where teachers are meeting in small groups with students for math and language arts. So another question that we have here, are teachers assigned per grade or will there be splits with K-8? There will be, depending on enrollment, and enrollment it fluctuates daily regarding K-8, whether or not there will be splits. So it's possible that there will be split grade levels. That was a good question too. That's why I answered that live, because that's came up a couple of times. So another good question, when should we expect to get more information? Yes. So once your student has been enrolled and accepted and they're put in and scheduled, that's when more information regarding more so like a open house or orientation will happen for all students. And it's at that time, especially for our 7-12 students, that you will meet with your our guidance counselor to see where they are, making sure that they're on track for graduation in the classes that they will be scheduled for. There's also been a number of questions regarding devices. So yes, every student will be supplied with a device. Jeff is still on. Jeff, do you know if they will, I know we'll give them a Chromebook. Will they also get hotspots? Or will those come as requested, like when we're screen to screen?
If needed, we will be providing both devices and hotspots for students. And more information on the best way to request that will be coming out in a few weeks.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I see a question in the chat or in the Q&A portion part of the Zoom. My daughter has been going to Pat and Gill for 3 years. Will she remain with Pat and Gill even online? So no, if you enrolled in Capital Area K-12, then your student is a Capital Area K-12 student. It's a Capital Area K-12 is a totally separate school from any of our other schools in the district. Just kind of scrolling through. So there's a question about elective teachers who will also have office hours in regards to K-8. So again, I think I put that in one question. I think what I'm getting ready to say is going to answer a few questions that's currently here listed. So when it comes to our flex schedule and the scheduling of our electives, especially for our K-8 students, we are in the process of finalizing what the flex schedule will look like for both our teachers and our students. So parents will have a better understanding of their requirements to have the students on at what times throughout the week for the live instruction. And that live instruction will be recorded just as it was during screen to screen. So families can go back and replay the live sessions for that day. But again, I want to say, going back to that flipped classroom model, so lessons will more so be front loaded, and a lot of that, the lessons will be posted. Parents, you'll go through and view the lessons that have been posted. You'll also be able to view videos. And then still at the beginning of the week, when your student comes on live for the synchronous instruction with their class and with their teachers, that's when those questions that they have, specific questions regarding the lessons for the week or for that unit, will be answered whole group. But again, also kind of talks about learning at different pace and different ability levels. If you don't have any questions, the parents and students, feel free to go ahead and start completing the assignments for the week. Also, and then when it's time for the teacher's office hours every day, that's your time to come in with the questions that are specifically for your student. I'm sorry, you guys, I'm trying to see what I haven't covered. There's a question about a request for record. So again, once a student is enrolled, our secretary here at Capital Area K-12 will request records from the former school. Good question for the parent that asked that question. So to Venus Henderson Hughes, your question of, is it too late to enroll them for the online option? They're already enrolled at 3 of our different brick and mortar schools. It's not too late. If you could please contact the enrollment office as soon as you can, just so they can get the information in so your students can be transferred over to Capital Area K-12. All right, so any of the panelists, if you see any questions that are pertaining to you, some of the questions, I'm gonna go ahead and type the answers in. You're welcome, Venus, but I don't see any more questions. Harmony, I do see that you're answering a question about, or you have answered a question about IEPs, and Chris, you're answering a question about sports. Thank you. So an anonymous attendee has asked about a desk. We won't supply a desk. Children, students will be supplied with a Chromebook and a hotspot if needed. Yes, this will all happen before LSD teachers go back. These are good questions, you all. All right. Okay, so the other questions are very like individual questions that I'm going to go ahead and type in. So if there are not any more questions for the panel at this time, I do want to thank everyone for attending today, this morning. Parents that have enrolled your students, you will get more information following today's meeting regarding orientation and like device distributions, and all the information is forthcoming for Capital Area K-12. Does any of the panelists have anything else to add before we end today's meeting? No?
I'd like to just thank everybody for attending, and if you have any specific questions, they can contact me at any time for me to personally talk with them, as well as our high school, middle school athletic directors will within the next week have the information that should get you to where you need to be.
All right, thank you. Thank you all for attending. I'm going to go through a few more questions that we have. I'm not asking you to stay on. I'll go through a few more questions that we have here that I need to answer individually. You will be able to check your email for that. I have your email for those of you that have attended. If you didn't get the answer, ask your question or get answered, please email me at Carla, CARLA.Laws, LAWS @lansingschools.net. Okay. All right. Thank you all. Thanks for attending.